Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dan French. This is another French Workbench podcast. I got a full studio in here today. We have all the same people, all the same similar faces back in here. Go ahead and move over a little bit. I was just going to tell you guys we have a great show today. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening with Las Vegas and should we consider, or some of the things to consider when you move to Las Vegas, and you know, some of the challenges that we see with a lot of these buyers and a lot of real people in general. If you're coming here to rent, what are some of the challenges that people face on an individual basis, on a family basis? So we're going to get started here, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce one of my friends and co-hosts, and I would say, or guests. What are you, Brett? Brett Jenny.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this.
He's over here texting.
Trying to get this deal done, dude. You're starting late. Money doesn't sleep.
Also, I got Joe. Joe, go ahead and move over a little bit, man. We got you over here. I want to get your picture in here. This is Joe Dragon. He's back. Real estate attorney. What's going on today, Joe?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Dan?
Good, man. Good. So thank you for coming on. We're going to talk a lot today. We also got another familiar face, which is Mr. Zach Martinez. What's going on, Mr. Zach Martinez over here, Simply Vegas?
Mr. Youngblood.
Mr. Youngblood. What's happening, my man?
Not much, man. It's been a crazy week.
Yeah.
Nothing's really changed in terms of how crazy things are, but
living
life.
Did you have your firstborn?
Yes, I did. No, I'm just kidding.
that happened to me. So that,
Yeah,
that's
Joe
a big
did.
for
Oh,
me.
you did?
Yeah, I did. He was born
So,
on
Joe,
Tuesday.
anything exciting happened this week? Anything new?
Well, I want to talk to you
I
guys
just
a
had
little
my
bit.
firstborn.
Oh, firstborn.
Yeah, this is, so let's
Is
talk
this
a
your
little bit.
usual have a baby?
Usual week. Yeah, I know.
Usual week?
We'll do it again in 2 weeks. Have you guys ever watched the C-section?
No. Let me ask you a question.
stuff.
So you just had a baby. Your wife and you just had a baby. Have you figured out what caused the problem?
They told me something about that in health class.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't paying attention.
What's up, Dan French?
What's up, man?
You're
I'm
quiet.
here. No, I'm just waiting for you guys to
Send it.
Send it. Send it right here, baby. Send the applications.
Send all of them.
Rabies.
Dude, everybody here
Rabies.
has the energy today. I appreciate that. You guys coming in looking good, man. So let's talk a little bit. You guys,
Best looking crew in Vegas, personally.
right? So let's talk a little bit about what's happening around Las Vegas. We all know Las Vegas has opened up, and we also know that there's challenges, not just for people that are buying homes. This is a financing and real estate show. A lot of topics are regarded or centered around that. But in this show, we're going to talk a little bit about everything. It's going to encompass not only that, but also unemployment, and also, are people really going back to work? Because look, we got stimulus checks, we got a lot of unemployment out there still. There's job fairs, but it doesn't seem like these job fairs are really, they're booming. It seems like people are still on unemployment checks, or they're getting stimulus checks. Who knows? Is there motivation to go back to work?
What would be your motivation? If you're sitting at home and collecting more in unemployment than your job, what would be your motivation to go back to work? So I can actually work and make less?
We'll get into that. I mean, that's a good point. We'll get into that. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on
Socialism.
in the housing market.
Rabies.
The housing market, right? We've seen a lot of increases in overvalued homes. We've been talking about that consistently. Now, a lot of people want to move from other states. We got Hawaii. You got.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
How are they overvalued?
Well,
Are people paying for them?
what I mean is they're
So they're not overvalued.
Let me
They're at
explain.
value.
Yeah. So
Maybe overvalued to some people. Sorry.
Okay. Brett's opinion. So let's talk about it though. Okay. So they're overvalued because people are still paying above what the asking price is. So if that's
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, in that sense.
yeah, I mean, and what do you think? I mean, Joe, you're seeing the same thing out there, correct?
I am seeing the same. I mean, I don't know if they're overvalued in the sense that they're not where they should be or going, but they may be going too fast. Does that make sense? And I think they're going to see that come down as far as the acceleration, as far as the prices. So my opinion is going to come down. There's a lot of reasons why. I think California is now reopened, so we're seeing a lot more activity over there.
Sure.
And we're going to get supply, like we've talked about in the last couple months. Supply is going to catch up with this, so it's going to slow down. But I don't know if it's overvalued. I just think the acceleration is too high at that point. That makes sense.
Zach, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's moving pretty quick. I mean, my listing that I was talking about last weekend.
Oh, yeah. How'd that work?
Oh, really good, actually. I mean, we were just getting bombarded with phone calls for showings and stuff. But long story short, we were listed for 620, and obviously I was expecting to sell over list, but we had somebody come in. They're like, 650. We got the cash. Like, we'll make up for the difference if the appraisal comes in low. And I'm like, okay, great. I mean, my seller's happy. But I mean, that just comes to show like it's not uncommon for people to come in with a lot of money and pay over what we're asking, you know?
You know what I found out is that price point between probably 600,000 and 800,000 right now, or maybe 550 to 800,000 right now, are the ones where if it's a good property, those are the properties where you hear stories of people coming in and doing 30, 40, 50, 50 grand over. Because I have one that is at 445 right now, and the appraisal came in like quite a bit lower than the 445. And granted, the appraisal came in a lot lower than what it should be. But you don't see people at that price point on a home that's like 10, 15 years old, even though it's in a good, you know what I mean? Like, It's like, that's what I'm saying is the homes in that price point just seems to be the home that people want that are coming here with that extra money that are willing to do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I picked up a buyer earlier this week, and he's like, listen, I'll just be honest with you. I'm fully aware of the situation in Vegas right now at the housing market. I wouldn't be moving there if my fiance wasn't getting a good job there. I can work remote, so I don't care. He's a cash buyer. He's 550 to 650. He's like, we tried this 3 weeks ago with another agent because his business partner is buying the house with him. So his business partner contacted another agent unbeknownst to him. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Point being is they wrote on a listing that was at 620. They wrote for 650 cash. They got beat out by somebody who gave $110,000 over list price.
Wow.
God.
$110,000 on a $620,000 listing, dude.
It seems like that.
720. Can I ask you guys a question?
110, dude.
It's crazy. It seems like that price point is kind of
Let me give you 23% over.
It's becoming what, you know, the $300,000 to $400,000 was.
It's not even $300,000 to $400,000 right now. I had a buyer just email him. He's like, if I find something that I like under 300, I'll let you know. I'll never hear from him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but
Right.
you know.
Let me ask you guys a question. So you guys are dealing with buyers, right?
Yeah.
So who are these guys in your experience? Are they first-time buyers, young, or who? What seems to be the average buyer that's coming to you? Because we're talking about challenges moving to Vegas.
Like usual, anyone usually below 450 is a first-time home buyer.
Yeah,
for
but
the
are
most
they
part.
moving here, or are they just?
Well, I think
Almost everyone I know is moving here.
Yeah.
That I've been working with.
And where are they coming from?
California.
Yeah.
California or New York are the two biggest places.
Because they can exchange and they got the change. So I think because Dan, what's the challenges moving here to Vegas? I think the problem is where it's contingent on which state you're moving from, right?
Well, I think you look at it, it's not just buying a house. I think it's, do you have a family, and is the transition, the timing part of it there, right? Also, is the house going to be built, if you're buying a new home, is it going to be built in time? You know, there's a lot of things that you got to consider. If you're getting a job or you need a job here, that's another challenge, right? You need to transition here, but you know Vegas is the destination. So I think there's other layers to this. You know, also, a lot of people don't know anything about Vegas, and they always say, well, you know, what is some of the things that are different from Vegas than, let's say, California? Obviously, we have no state tax. Yeah. What's different between that and Hawaii? What's different between that and New York?
People are moving here because they know it's cheaper. But what a lot of them are starting to find out, not a lot of them, but what some are starting to find out, which is they start seeing the market here, and they're like, oh, I thought Vegas was cheaper. I'm like, well, 2 years ago it was.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's not going to ever get that way again. It's only going to get bigger. We're a valley.
Yeah.
Everyone's already onto us.
Yeah.
Like,
and we're next door to one of the most expensive places in the country.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, right.
So, I mean, people coming here can afford to live there and here. They got that much money.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think, too, though, you look at, like, okay, so you got that. How about the fact that if you have to move, let's say you're in Hawaii, you got to move your car here. You know, I got people that move here and they got to get their car moved by boat?
I would
obviously.
sell it there and buy a new one here, dude.
Well, a lot of people don't want to do that. You know, a lot of people are looking at these challenges and then they're saying, you know, what if I got to sell my house contingent on moving somewhere, right? There's a lot of things that goes on in consideration when it comes to
Just do a rent back.
What?
A rent back.
Well, you could do a rent back, but what I'm saying is some of these challenges are not foreseen. When it's like it's like me. When I'm going to go buy a house or I buy something, you don't know the other steps or the other layers that's involved to say, you know what if I have an infant? You just had a baby, right?
Correct.
So what, think about that.
Well, and that is, I mean, if you're talking about coming in now because you got a job opportunity, that's a good point. Because with childcare, right, we had to get on the list 3 months ago to put them into daycare 4 months from now.
Oh my God.
Right. Now we know it because we live here, but that's going to be a challenge for sure if you just got a job offer. It's like,
what if you just got transferred or just find out you're coming here, you got a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, is that due because of COVID or is that due because it's just
over demand?
Over demand.
Low inventory.
Same thing with trying to get your pool cleaned right now.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of challenges, please, also with looking at post-COVID, right? I mean, it's not saying we're not back up and running, but right now we're going to be full steam ahead. You know, we got everything opening up. Zach, you know this. And so, you know, you've had challenges with clients coming here. Give us some insight on what you've seen with some of the people that you've had to deal with coming here, because people want to know, maybe they didn't consider this, even though they do want Vegas and Vegas is the desired place. What is some of those challenges?
Well, I think a lot of the challenge comes from not really knowing what's going on here, you know, because obviously I think it's, you know, being more and more known that obviously home prices are going up, things are opening up. So Vegas is kind of starting to come back to life. But I think people that are living in other states, obviously, like if you live in LA, you know, your life isn't based around, you know, figuring out what's going on here in Vegas, you know, so you move here and you don't really know what to expect, right? I mean, you know, prices are going up, but I mean, the whole daycare thing, like,
I mean, that's just one example.
Right. How are you supposed to know that?
Yeah.
Other than, you know, obviously somebody telling you, I think there's just so many different variables that come to play.
You can't even rent a car right now.
Really?
So if you
no, you can't.
If you know, you got a job offer, you come here, you rent a car because you want to go look for, you can't even get transportation, right? And that all has to do with overheating. I mean, you can't even get on an Uber because Uber's so high demand.
Right.
So these are kind of problems you don't think of when you live here, but when you're trying to transition here, just getting around seems to be an issue because of the problems that we're facing with basically it's getting overstimulated, you know. Look, it's a challenge. So I think when you make that decision to move here, be aware of it. And you know, I don't think it's crazy to say to your employer, look, I need to figure this all out because it's not like I can snap my fingers to be there. And I think people will understand that. So just know that if you're from a different city that, look, put a game plan in. It's not going to be as easy as it was 2 years ago. You might need a month or so to kind of figure out the logistics and stuff. And perhaps you do got to sell the car if you move to Hawaii because maybe it is just too much of a pain and that sort of thing. And this town it's got good public transportation, but we're mobile. I mean, we drive cars. This isn't like San Diego or San Francisco.
I mean, they got Uber, and we got Uber. We got all of that. But I think you look at too, like, what if you're going to come out here and rent first, or just rent? Period. What's that rental market look like, Brett? You probably know it's tough to get a rental property right now. So
that's the thing.
Even if it's short term.
So if you have to be here, you have to what? Rent or buy, one of the two. You need a place to live. So the rental market's just as tough as the housing market. So that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, pick your poison in that sense, man.
Yeah,
we like you're talking about an area that every single human being needs a place to live.
Well, I mean, the luxury too is, let's say you have family here. Maybe you got somebody that's already living here and you can come and stay with them.
Yeah.
People do that. But think about if you're just like, you know what, this is the transition. You really have to put that thought out on what you're planning to do here. Like, okay, step by step, this is not going to be an easy process. I think people misinterpret not a little bit on some of the challenges that goes on with going
What do
from state
you
to
mean?
state.
People who are just coming here for what?
Well, just to make a whole life transition. You know, it's not.
So I think that people who do that are like me, and you don't really have a plan.
Well, exactly. You need to probably put a plan.
That's why
in
you
place.
come here,
right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have a plan.
Well, I think that's the top.
That's why I came here. I was like, I'm gonna come here and see what happens. Well, here I am.
Put it all in black and
What
see
year
where that
did you move
goes.
here?
Yeah, I mean, not, you know,
What year did you move here?
2009,
Okay.
January
So,
2009.
I mean, and to Dan's point, that would have been an easy transition. I mean, I came here in 17, and that was still very easy, right? I came down here, I had a place in a day.
Yeah.
Right? It needed 2 days to move in, but you can't do that right now.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
On the flip side, there is a lot of opportunity here. So I think the point is you need to kind of be methodical and realizing that you can't just expect to snap your fingers like it was in 20 years past.
I mean, if you have a game plan, kudos. And that's definitely probably the route to take over not having a plan. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying the nature of the
Yeah.
beast of people that move here.
I mean, things have changed a lot. I came here 20 years ago, roughly. Things have changed a lot where if you came here, you didn't have all the fight for everybody's just kind of fighting for the same space.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get, their share of it, which is
Yeah.
fine. And if you came here and you were just like, I don't have anything planned. Let's say when I came here, I was like, you know what? I don't have anything planned. I had family. I could rent if I wanted to. Jobs were in abundance. Everything was great. I'm not saying jobs aren't there now. And we're going to talk about that. But I think it's just there's a lot more challenges. People, this is a desired place now. It's completely different.
Yeah.
and
100% it is.
And there's a lot of things to consider. Obviously, we talked about rent. Cost of living's better. What if you don't have employment, right? Let's say you're coming here and let's say you have a job that's set up, but you can't really transition because you have to sell your house there, or let's say the job's not available until the time period that they got on an employment contract. These things are things to consider. What do you do then, right? Also, what if new homes? What if you bought a new home and the home's not going to be built
those
in
are
time?
more case by case scenarios.
Well, it's things to consider, right? If you're buying a new home,
Yeah, but
how
I
many
think
people
that's
do you
probably
buy
a
that's
small
new home?
percentage.
How many people that you have buy new homes?
Well, everyone's trying to right now because
Right.
they can't get resale.
Right. And also, there's nothing to rent. So they're saying, I'm going to buy. I'm just going to go right in the market.
Yeah.
So the materials, cost of the materials, builders are behind. There's not as much, people that are doing the construction part of it. Contractors, they're not as fast, possibly.
Well, here's the thing is you're having, even with new homes selling like they are, you're having the same amount of record number of permits being pulled as during the boom. The problem is you have 3 times as many people moving here now than then.
It's very
so
different
everyone's
now.
like, oh, well, we have just as many building permits. We're at a record high. Yeah, compared to 3 times less people.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, back then,
So-
the demand was driven by this ridiculous idea that real estate was never going to go down.
Yeah.
And so it was an investment. Today, you're seeing the demand being driven by the need of the commodity, which is somewhere to live.
Yeah,
so
that
it's
people
very,
are moving here and
very
need a place to
different.
live.
How often does it happen, though, where, and you guys are both real estate agents, and I'll talk to you, Zach, where you get a person that's in a new home, and now it's extended out where they thought, well, you know what? This home's going to be completed in June. Now it's not going to be completed until the end of July.
How
All the time.
often are you guys seeing people go into Airbnbs? Because I know I've had a couple people. They're like, okay, well, our home's not ready. We'll Airbnb for a couple months. And I know Airbnb, they offer like a monthly.
Yeah,
like,
you can go monthly.
Yeah.
on
right.
that.
Do you guys come across that often at all? Like,
I haven't really.
yeah.
Not with my buyers.
Actually, I've actually had people do that.
They'll stay at the top of the wind for a month.
Yeah. I mean, Zach, that's
honest.
a good point, though, man. I mean, because you know what? People looking for alternate routes as far as, well, what's my options, right? So you can't go get into a, let's say, a 6-month lease or 12-month lease. Maybe you're coming here when the house is going to be built 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
You need a 3-month lease.
That's why month
or
to
month
month gouge you.
Yeah.
Like literally, it could be the same condo in the same condo complex, but it's month to month and furnished, and it's like literally 3 times what rent should be. Like, say rent's like $1,200, they're like $3,500, dude.
Well, I had somebody
It's
on
crazy.
Facebook. I guess she had some people moving in from Arizona somewhere, and she had posted the same thing. Like, hey, I have clients moving in. They already left, and their home isn't going to be done
Was this
until
on the
another
Simply
couple
Vegas?
months. I
one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I think it was somebody else. And
Yeah.
they were asking for recommendations. They're like, okay, yeah, their home's going to be done in 3 months. Like, do you guys have any recommendations? And then somebody was like, Airbnb. And that's kind of where I got that idea. Obviously, I've had somebody do the same thing, but I mean, I feel like it's going to be more common, right? I mean, it's an option.
I think short term, I know it's maybe a little bit higher in cost, but it probably makes more sense. You're not putting yourself in some type of lease or some type of an agreement.
And you're not going to be in a hotel.
I mean, it's
right?
it's a 30-day or whatever the time period is. And then it's like, you know what? When I'm ready, I'm ready. I would probably do that than go and try to sign a 2-month lease, you know, or a 3-month lease.
Because it's with a private individual, not a property management company.
Right.
And you don't want to deal with property management companies, dude.
And you just want to get in and out. You know, it's temporary. And you know what? Like I said, maybe some people have family living here already. We don't know, but it's a luxury to have that. But, you know, maybe you have to go to the short-term rental park.
I mean, I have a buyer right now who his wife is like some exec for AT&T, and he's like ex-military, but he was ranked pretty high, so he can get like a off-military job or whatever it is here. And they just moved here a month ago from Virginia. And she already started her job and everything, and they're literally renting for a year to kind of get their pulse on being able to get everything squared away and migrated from Virginia out to here and settled down and all that stuff. So, you know, because they understood. They're like, listen, we look for 2 or 3 month lease or monthly lease. And they're like, we might as well just sign, you know, in their mind, even if they find the right house that they want, that's the most important thing. Cause they're like in the 600-700 range. So they don't care even if they have to like exit their lease early and pay like 4 months of a lease to get the house. Like, it doesn't matter.
And realistically though, like,
it's still cheaper than doing month to month.
With, you know, I mean, obviously we touched on how the rental market is, how tough it is, kind of like the resale. What are the odds of finding a property on someone that's like, okay, yeah, I'll rent you this property for 3 months compared to, you know, they probably have other applications.
If they're going to, it's only because it's financially rewarding. And how do you make that financially rewarding on shutting off your other option, which is a longer lease, which is gouge them?
Yeah. You know, I want to make the point from like a legal perspective, right? Because we're kind of in a unique situation, and when that happens, you can get creative with the law on how you can do things. You know, generally we think, okay, either you got to buy, either you're married or you're single, you got to buy or you rent, right? There are other alternatives you can do where you basically make some sort of investment like LLC with somebody else to get some extra funds going. Either you split a house with somebody or you give them the right and certain amount of equity that they can make to bring the cost down. I also think that employers need to start thinking, because this affects employers too, right? If you can't get people here 100%. Because there's no inventory, you got to start thinking outside the box. You know, can my company afford a few condos or whatever and give people some, you know, rent that's coming out of their paycheck? But these are things you've got to consider. There are solutions. Start thinking outside the box, and that's where law can really come in to help, because it's really what you want to do with it. You can make any sort of agreement you want as long as you get financing. So I encourage people, maybe just don't look anybody that's going to be successful at some point needs to think outside the box, right? If you're not getting what you need,
100%.
Consider other situations, right? Maybe you got somebody that says, hey, I want the equity. We'll split the mortgage with you, but when you sell, I'm taking the equity. That could be a solution for a 2 or 3 year, you know, situation until
like home sharing, basically, right? Kind of like what they do.
Either you get a big house and you share the home. If you don't want to share with somebody, then you can say, look, we're parsing up the property where I'm giving you some sort of financial rights in it. I have the right to live. I can keep my rent less. We do this with an LLC. That's when an attorney comes into play, because they can develop all that for you. The lender doesn't care as long as somebody's either personally guaranteeing or the LLC has enough assets to make them comfortable. But there are solutions out there. You just got to get kind of brainstorming on what
sounds like you should blockchain that and put it into a coin.
Right. Yeah. So the process, usually you have to really plan, I would say, quite a few months in advance. You have, what if you are somebody out there that's got a ton of things that you're moving? You need a moving truck. Okay, a lot of people liquidate. I've seen a lot of people where they're like, you know what, I'm moving out of state. I'm just going to do a sale. I'm going to post everything on OfferUp. Everything must go, you know, and everybody's like, you know what, I'll just cash, you know, get a bunch of cash.
I think that's a great option.
I think it's a great option too if you're leaving, right? It's going somewhere else. But let's say you have things that you want. Let's say it's stuff that you paid quite a bit of money for. There's another challenge, right? It's just like, let's say you're going from California to here. Obviously, you can get a moving truck and get that process to here. Let's say you're coming from New York. You know, would you get a moving truck going from New York?
Man,
that's a long process, right? I mean, for the truck to get there, still can do it. What about Hawaii? Because we're talking about people that move from these states primarily. It's these higher, more expensive states to the cost of living moving here. And what are they really going through to get some of this stuff here? Like for me, obviously, if I was living in Hawaii, I would probably liquidate. You know, I'm not going to probably have to, you know, I would probably liquidate as much as I can, sell everything, and almost, I hate to say it, but kind of restart here in Las Vegas. What do you guys think?
That's what a lot of people are doing from California, which is why they're overpaying for homes here. Because they're coming to restart or resettle, and they're going to stay. So it's still a cheaper cheaper home.
I mean, that's,
than, you know, so they're getting what they want for something far cheaper than they'd ever be out that they're used to and never could get where they're at right now. Done.
Right. I mean, that's what I did when I moved just from Reno, which is only a 6-hour drive. But caveat, it was a bunch of junk. Then I met my wife, who's got all this super nice stuff, right?
You're like, oh, sweet. New
We
stuff.
moved, and I'm like, all right.
Step your game up, bud.
Can't just go, you know, give us 20.
Can't have
20
those
bucks.
dogs playing poker on the wall anymore.
Yeah. But then when
Oh,
we
gosh.
moved, that's a funny story because we moved and we did like, we got a moving company, but we did a first move just with my own truck, a U-Haul.
Yeah.
And put the bar cart in the back. Apparently I forgot to close the back. And so she's driving behind me honking. I'm not hearing anything. Falls off the back. It's all right. It's got a little dent on the back. Didn't break it.
Honking. She's like,
It almost.
I can see that phone call. Why?
Yeah, we were married for a month there, and that was.
A month?
That was the first test. Dude, I'm telling
that
you, you
was
want
the
to put a
first
marriage
time.
couple up to the test, man. Have a move.
Yeah,
Dude,
no joke.
every time.
No,
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, because everybody, they
Dude,
all have a different idea
they're
about
so
what needs to be
stressed.
done, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you know what, I think this might be more efficient. Well, you know, we could do
Yeah.
this. And then there's that conflict a little bit, right? Where it's like, what's the easiest path to get to where you guys need to get to, you know? And I think
It just disrupts your life to have to move.
And
dude.
you're always there
man.
at midnight too, even though you plan to be done. It's just always
it's always, how did I get all
start
this shit?
throwing
You
stuff
know?
in. Like, what is
I mean, I just moved with my girlfriend into our
What is that? I don't
the
care.
cactus.
yeah, cactus life.
But I can't imagine. I mean, moving
don't-
from state to state, you know.
They take
with-
care of moving you in there at the cactus, right?
Oh,
Isn't that cactus
yeah, no,
life?
I wish.
Oh, I thought that was part of the cactus life.
Oh, I thought so too. No, but honestly, like my personal preference, I would like to start fresh. I mean, I know we were just talking about that because me, it's like it'd be nice to just sell my stuff if I'm moving to another state. You know, fresh start. I buy new furniture. You know, but you know, like you pointed out earlier. Oh God.
The cactus life right there. You're taking a picture. Go ahead.
Like you pointed out earlier, there's people that have stuff that they just don't want to get rid of.
Yeah.
And yeah, driving a moving truck sucks, but I know there's companies out there. Like there's this one that I've used before for a client like a couple of years back called Zippy Shell.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like they'll pack your stuff up for you into like a little container and then they'll transport it for you. And then I believe
how small is that container?
it's I mean, you can pay for, you know,
Yeah.
bigger containers and stuff, but I mean, there's alternatives, you know. I
Right.
mean, you don't have to drive the truck by yourself, which
Yeah.
oh man, I can't even imagine doing that.
Yeah,
That
I
would
mean,
suck.
look, I think a lot of people, they are making so much money on their homes that it's not a big problem for them to liquidate because you know what? They don't care. They're going to make so much money.
That's what I'm
They're
saying.
going to buy something brand. You know, they be, oh, I bought this a year ago, but you know what? I'm making $150,000, $200,000. I'm getting people way above the asking price. So why don't I just go buy all new?
Yep.
Sell everything,
Yep.
buy new. It's easier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a good investment too, especially you want marriages to last.
Now that scenario on a massive level.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it's,
Las Vegas.
no, it is. But I think there's people.
That's Las Vegas RN.
Yeah.
Right now
Yeah.
for all you boomers.
So let's go and let's jump. So you guys have any other things to talk about where some of the other challenges? You guys maybe personal or family challenges as far as people moving here. You know, I told the story that my family moved one by one. You know, some of the time too, though. Is, yeah, they basically, I moved here. My uncle started here, then I followed him, and then my other uncle moved here. My mom moved here.
Did you
my
go to
family.
school out here?
No, I went to school in Colton High School, but I went in. I'm from Ranch Cucamonga area, so
Okay.
I lived over there. So the area that I lived in was great. But I'm just saying, when I came out here, it's like they all transitioned with me. Everybody followed. You
Yeah,
know?
okay.
And I think that's some of the things. But what you don't understand is, hey, if you got a gambling problem, some people do. No, I'm not joking.
Oh yeah,
Then
dude, you
that's
got a
something-
gambling problem. But I mean, listen, dude.
But let me say this. I'm going to say this. These are things that I'm not saying that people moving here have a gambling problem. I'm just saying if you have a gambling problem,
Yeah. But
something
here's-
to consider.
well-
how about they don't think like what is that going to be something that's going to affect me? How about the hot weather?
So I would say
Right.
what level
What
for
do you
your
mean?
gambling? Because this is a city that is set up for self-destruction.
Massive destruction.
What I'm saying is, this if you got a vice, and everyone does.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
This city can quench every vice that you effing have 24/7.
Yeah.
Right? So, in a sense, this city is set up for self-destruction on a massive level.
Yeah.
On a massive level, if you wanted to.
If you got a gambling problem,
it's just one of those things where just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right.
you got a gambling problem, man.
That's like our motto, or should be.
You got to be prepared to go in to pay for gas and slot machines in the freaking gas stations.
Yeah,
like
man. You see that? Now I don't even think twice about it.
Well, and you know,
now I'm like, why isn't there a slot machine here?
And I mean, I was born and raised here, so I mean, that's literally all I know. It's 24 hours. I mean, you can get whatever you want whenever you want.
You would not have fun living some place.
Well, I mean, I went up to Bryan Head, Utah, and we did like a little snowboarding trip, and it was really cool. And then we wanted to go grab, I think it was like,
dude, it's funny
either
when
food
Vegas
or beers.
when people from Vegas,
Yeah.
dude, like they freak out, like they're not open 24.
It was 9 o'clock, and then the gas station, the only gas station in I think it was Duck Creek or something, and it was closed. I'm like, interesting.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine
Your life is shut
people-
down at that point.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I don't have any. Well, what am I going to do?
mean, it is.
But I mean, I can only imagine people moving here from another state, like a small town or something like
Right.
that. It could be pretty,
It's intense.
Dude,
Exactly.
I moved here from a town of 3,000 people.
Oh, how was that transition, man? Like,
The first night, I stayed at a hotel on the Strip, and I'm looking out over all the lights, and I curled up in a ball. And I said, "What did I do?" True story. I was like, it hit me. I look over. I'm like, I'm by myself. Like everything I owned, I moved in the back of my vehicle. I'm out there. I'm looking at the light. I'm just like, oh my god, what did I do? I just curled up and was like, freaked
way.
out. Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things where you say like you got to overcome it, and I mean, we're all human. So
Right, and
I was, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. To your point, though, Zach and Dan, I grew up in Northern Nevada, went to law school in Idaho, and that's not a huge change. But
Idaho?
Yep.
Idaho. Okay.
Knew it was coming. For me, you go in on Sunday, you can't buy liquor in the grocery stores or on Sundays. I'm like, this seems
dude.
like crazy to me, but that's most of the other country.
Yeah.
And I will say with kids though, because you grow up here, you don't think much about gambling. When I was a kid, I went to San Francisco for the first time and saw the high rises, and my mom explained that wasn't casinos. I'm like, what are they doing in there? What are they
Other
doing?
businesses.
So if you grow up here, I don't think I don't know no one that's grown up here and has
Those aren't
a gambling
casinos?
problem,
That
'cause they're
sucks.
I've actually met people that come here, and it's not that they think they have a gambling problem. It's that they go into it and they spend their paycheck once they get out of it. They work in the casino, they spend their paycheck, then they're living, really on very limited income, or money that they have. Also, too, let's talk about the weather, right? The hotness, but also the dryness. There's a lot of people that have allergy problems that typically don't have allergy problems coming here. Do you guys have allergies here?
I never had allergies, but
It's
Well,
crazy.
scientifically, we all have allergies.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, do our allergies act up?
yeah.
okay. Well, then let me rephrase. I never suffered
I'm
from
just saying
severe
technically.
allergies.
but it is a different climate. So when you come here, sometimes it's an adjustment.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes you got to come here and let your body adjust to it too.
Yeah.
But I'll take 120 over 100 with 100% humidity any day of the
Oh,
week.
yeah.
So
Or 30 below zero.
yeah, that's not fun either.
That's where I come from.
You walk out.
That's a whole nother cold. That's like someone taking needles and throwing them at you.
You got to
I'm not
shovel
kidding.
the snow off your driveway so you can leave to
Dude,
the grocery store and there's a
so-
cat just frozen in the street.
So here's the thing, dude. You got to go out and start up your car in the morning and let it run for a good 30 to 40 minutes before you can get in it. Even if because if not, if you got to go like 10 miles to work, if you just get in, start it, and drive, you'll be shivering the whole time by the time you even get there.
man.
Like it takes your car like 30 minutes to get warm. So you got to go out and start it up early.
One thing I didn't know is like in colder climates, like people, you have to plug if you have a truck, you have to plug it in so you can keep it so it doesn't like freeze up. It
No,
warms
you
it up. No.
I've never plugged it.
Well, okay, no. Okay, I saw a video. No, I saw a video.
My friends lived on farms, dude.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me not speak for everybody. Let's just say I saw a video on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's people that drive like diesel trucks, and then when they park, they have to plug their truck in to keep it warm. So when you start it up, it doesn't mess up the engine in the morning. I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but it's
maybe.
like,
If you're in Alaska or
Oh,
something,
yeah,
then maybe
I
some
think it
people-
was
I don't
Alaska.
know. Yeah. I'm just saying like that. I mean, that makes sense what you're saying that they do. It's just I haven't noticed a lot of people.
well, let's look at this. My ignorance when it comes to that. I can only imagine people moving from somewhere else to here. they don't really know what to expect in terms of
Correct.
the dry heat. So
And the difference in weather and climate. I mean, people don't think, I went to Hawaii. When I got off the plane, it was completely different. My body was like, I'm not used to this. It really was. I mean, some people, it just affects differently. You know what I mean?
Like it?
It's not about liking it. It's more about just adapting to it. Like, there's more moisture. It's very more wet, and it's not saying it was bad, but for some reason it messed with my allergies there,
Well, a lot of
they'll
people when they
say-
travel get sick from traveling because
but
they're
it was
in different environments. And
that's my point. I mean, but it's just, when you look at when you move somewhere, sometimes it takes a minute for you to adjust and understand them. Go ahead.
And with allergies, I mean, typically if you have them, anywhere you move, the first year you're going to get them bad because your body hasn't
100%.
adjusted or whatever. So it's going to come. You're going to have to sneeze a few times.
Yeah, let's
Bring
segue.
Kleenex.
Let's segue to another topic here. So I want to talk about unemployment, and this is a very big topic, and also this stimulus check that's coming out. The reason I want to bring this up is because I've been to numerous places, and what's gone on is there's a lot of job fairs, a lot of things happening here in Vegas, yet they can't get people to come in and take these jobs, right? You got the stimulus check that they talked about for kids coming out, another one. Right? There's another stimulus check. So they're constantly putting money in circulation as far as people to use, but is it keeping people less motivated to go find a job or get a job? There was one it is, right? I mean, so I had somebody the other day that I went into their store and I was like, you know what? I see this person here posting this sign that says another job fair. You go back 3 or 4 years, even 2 years, that would never happen. People would be like, I'm jumping on a job. I can't believe there's a job here. There's no motivation. Are you guys seeing the same things here?
That's
Absolutely.
real. And you know what? I saw this. I don't think it was here in Vegas. It was somewhere, but I mean, it's definitely real. I saw it was like the drive-through of a McDonald's or something like that saying, sorry, we can't take your order. People didn't want to work today or something like that. And it was very weird. I forgot the exact verbiage, but long story short, they just couldn't take people's orders in the drive-thru because they had nobody working, and they had a note that said nobody wanted to work today. And that's crazy.
They're making more money than. And I've heard this story before. They're making more money.
Yeah, it's simple, dude. We know the cause. You're getting paid more to not work, so why would you work?
Which, by the way,
it's not hard.
That is the kind of stuff that's going to create inflationary problem. I want to bring up 2 points
And
because we
socialism.
talked about this 2 weeks ago. We said the average income in Las Vegas was around 55,000. Correct.
Correct.
That's got to be old data. And let me explain. You have Uber, right, which is basically guaranteeing at least $30 an hour, which comes out with 40-hour weeks if they maintain that rate around 70-something thousand a year. And you have Bank of America, which
Crazy,
is recently
$30.
Yeah, Bank of America recently just said they're not paying any of their employees less than $30 an hour. Okay, again, coming up to
Jesus.
70-something thousand.
Dude,
a year.
you had to be like
These-
a trade to
Yeah, these are basic
jobs.
jobs. You just got to have a driver's license, and you just got to be able to count to be a bank teller.
I can't do either.
If that's costing that much for just basic labor, you get into specialized stuff.
It gets passed on to consumer.
It's a major problem. Getting help is a major problem.
Is it the type of jobs that are available? Like if you're going to go work in the food industry, maybe because there's such a stigma now that the people that lost their jobs when they were doing, maybe they were a server, maybe they were in, some type of, I don't know, maybe they were a cook, maybe they were doing something in the restaurant industry. A lot of these things that goes on, people kind of get, I would say, a little bit, jaded about the idea that they lost their job, they were put on probably unemployment, and why are they going to go get the same type of job? Because that could actually be a problem again down the road. COVID could potentially come back if they, something happens. Would they want to reposition for maybe a better or different type of job?
I understand that point of view. Don't get me wrong, but on the other hand, a lot of those jobs that were lost, you're going to make money here doing that job that you wouldn't make anywhere else making that kind of money. Right. So then you're like, because come on, dude, like a cocktail waitress, nothing is. But you make $80,000 a year serving drinks.
Yeah, but are they doing that now? Because let me say this: there's a lot of people that are traveling here, but is it at the same capacity?
What I'm saying is when they were. So you're talking about going back to their old job.
Correct.
So now we're talking about the circumstances of where they were at before all this. So that's what I'm referring to. So if you're going, you're making $80,000 a year serving drinks, and you got burned by this and you're laid off, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go, I see the cracks in this industry. I don't want to be susceptible to this. I'm going to get another job. What are you going to find besides like an attorney or upper management or something where you're going to make 80, 90 grand a year, dude?
Well, look, you got a lot.
I mean, so, okay, you got burned. I don't want to do this job anymore. What are you going to do else that make that kind of money here?
You got Yahoo's here. I think Google's now here.
Don't
You
get me
got
wrong. There
Amazon's
are other
here.
jobs, but
There's-
you need like probably a specific training in that or specific.
Yeah, and they probably want something like that. People want jobs that they feel that they're going to be secure, and
Absolutely.
it's not a volatile position.
I get that 100%. I can't blame them for that. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
realistically, and I'm not saying they can't get to that point with another job, but it's not going to be an even transition, probably.
I mean, a lot of these job
You know?
fairs are casinos that are doing these job fairs.
Yeah.
They're done at a casino, probably for a host. And I'm sure casinos are going to come back. But again, all these casinos were shut down. Nothing anybody's ever seen before, right? But was Amazon shut down, right? Were
No.
these other companies shut down? No. Were these
Agreed.
online people
Dude,
that were,
listen, I'd be pissed if I was them. Believe me.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the solution's clear too. It's like, let's not do another stimulus because we're losing
Yeah.
the effect of what we're trying to do. This idea,
absolutely.
This idea that we need a stimulus. I mean, what are you guys talking about?
There's a difference between helping society so that you don't fall below a certain standard, because I think that's where real issues, like you go to a lot of these third world countries, corruption's a huge issue. And you have corruption when there's so much contrast between rich and non-rich. So I think there's a certain standard as a first world country, if you want to keep status of being a relatively even country, is there's a certain minimum standard you need to constantly have.
What
Right.
about you, Zach? What do you think? You got people that work down on the strip or younger
yeah.
generation.
Oh, yeah.
What do they think? I mean, look, when you're younger, maybe it's okay because it's like in mindset wise, they think, well, it's temporary or it's something that's going to probably position me for something different down the road. But if you're somebody that's, you know what, like you said, cocktail waitress, somebody that's a dealer, somebody
a dealer or
right,
or
somebody
a
that
bartender,
made
whatever.
this their
Yeah.
primary employment, and now they're in their 40s and 50s, and they're using this as a place where they can retire. What do you see with that?
I think it really depends. I mean, on the person. I mean, you get a lot of these. I mean, the clubs, like the day clubs, the beach clubs, and then nightclubs. I guess they're all opening back up. I mean, the beach club, I think they've been open because it's a pool. The pools can be open, and then the girls, the bottle girls, like they make so much money. It's crazy. So
That's what I'm
I
saying,
know a
dude.
lot of them. I know
Killer
a lot,
money for-
right? I know a lot of them that they've gone to UNLV, they've gotten their degree, and then this is what they're gonna do until they find that job, or they didn't go to UNLV. They're just stacking up their money and then trying to buy a house or do whatever. Obviously planning for the future. I mean, we're all still pretty young.
Dude, I think it's a
but-
great job if you can get it because
yeah.
you can take that money. Now it's if you save it and you spend it wisely, dude. I think it can set you
Yeah,
up
I mean,
really
even,
well.
Even
doing that, man.
not only the girls, but like the bussers and like the hosts, like the guys, they make pretty good money too. I mean, and they've been making money like the past couple months, even with the restrictions. And now that all that's getting lifted, they're going to make some pretty good money. But the question is, like, what are they doing with that? Are they going to, be absorbed by that environment and work there, and then try not to look for any other, what I mean?
And what you guys are describing is the scenario of how we get into inflationary problem. If getting money, the cost to get money is cheap, meaning you don't have to invest in training or a degree is whatnot. Everybody has it. Scarcity goes down, and we have inflationary problem. I think it's literally insane that they're even considering, it looks like they're going to do it, another stimulus round. Like, what are we doing? This is a problem, and it's going to affect the city negatively.
Yeah, it's a tactic to keep the economy, moving forward.
When it needs it, though. Last year, you did a stimulus because you're saying no one can work. And
Right.
to avoid a recession, which is a mental component of everybody getting scared they won't have money, you pump in some money to keep everybody stable mentally.
Yeah.
But a year later, at this point, I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And it's politics and all that. But it's kind of scaring me, to be honest with you.
That's why it's setting us all up to be bad.
Well, look, let's be honest though too. Like a lot of people think that if you're staying on unemployment and you're making, let's say, even 3/4 of what you made, if you're getting tips, now you don't have to worry about tips. You've claimed what you made, and they're giving you a portion of that money. I'm assuming, right? So it's not motivating people to say, "Well, I'm going to go get that tip job, or I'm going to go work for a company." It's going to be there when I get there because everything's opening up and everything's starting to come back and Vegas is thriving. So I'm just going to kind of wait this out and just maybe pick my spot of when I want to do it.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I never thought about that. Yeah, just kind of in that waiting room right now, trying to wait for their entry. Like buying a stock at the right price or something, right?
It's almost like repositioning.
Yeah,
like maybe you were in a job that you didn't like or something, maybe, right? And there's the things that's opening up that maybe that you're looking for the same style job, and maybe you're looking for something that's similar but maybe better pay, maybe better, anything that can maybe benefit you a little bit more. Maybe your benefits from that job or something that makes that deciding factor.
Right.
But it just seems like there's a lot of people that are just there's not a motivation to say, hey, we're going back to work.
Which is because what is money, right? Money is a commodity of trade, right? That is based on the idea that something's getting developed and produced. When that's not happening, because you're not getting paid to produce anything, right? The value of money naturally decreases. So I mean, you're right. There's no, I mean, unless you're just love to work or something, there's no motivation to go put yourself on a 40-hour position job and make less, which is where we're at right now.
Yeah, I see Vegas coming back strong. Zach, you probably see it. I see there's a lot more activity. What are you guys' thoughts? Do you think Vegas will be back to where it is? Where
I think overall, man, we're got nothing but the moon to go.
Are we not?
I mean, I see nothing but amazing things to keep. Listen, there's going to be things slowing down at a certain point. There's going to be more of a flattening of things at a certain point.
Yeah.
We may even have a few recessions coming up, someday and blah, blah. Overall, but for the next 10, 15, 20 years, man, I see nothing but Vegas is going up, dude. And there's going to be life that happens in between and major things we can't predict. I mean, no one would have predicted COVID and all that stuff. So don't get me wrong, but I just think that overall, we got nowhere to go but up, man. I mean, I think it's a great town. I love this town. I mean, I'm never moving. I'm never, going anywhere else. This is where I want to die.
Yeah. And
I think that it's a matter of accumulation of a lot of things, but more importantly, it's people who do move here and they're like, dude, I dig this town. Because, Vegas is one of those towns where you can do what you want to do, man. If I want to be left alone, I can be left alone. If I want to go into the thick of it, I can go in the thick of it. If I want to go in the mountains, I can go in the mountains. If I want to do, literally, it's what you want to do that day in Vegas.
And we're transitioning.
We're
transitioning from a small city to a major city.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Which brings the opportunity. I mean, you come here, you can influence and mold this town.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's young politicians.
You still have that chance right now. It's still small enough,
there's
dude.
exciting things you can take that you can't do you can't do that in New York. You can't do that in LA, but you can do it here.
Yeah.
So I think that's exciting for people who are younger and want to actually, achieve some dreams.
There's the movers and shakers. This is the breeding ground for movers. It should be.
Yeah,
this should be your mecca, dude. If you're a mover and shaker.
Yeah, they always said,
or an up and coming or a wannabe.
They always said that in the first year,
they're all wannabes.
People move here, and in the first year, if they either like it or they don't like it, and they move back in that year. Mm-hmm. Majority of the time, though, if somebody comes here and they stay here for a year, and they're obviously they stay longer.
If anybody
than that,
comes here and leaves, it's because a lot of times because they got stomped out.
What does that mean? Stomped out?
They got taken into the dark alley.
Because
I don't like this place anymore.
Because this town is tough. It's a tough town.
Well, maybe it's a style of town. It's not for everybody.
This town can make you feel success like you'll never been able to feel, and this town can crush you and chew you up and spit you out and not even think twice about it, and you're nothing, dude.
Yeah.
Like this town can be heartless like that too.
Because of the transit.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is some people just get chewed up, dude. Some people just get chewed up.
You don't have the history.
This town will separate the weak from the strong right away, dude.
Yeah, you don't have the history of, like you said, the older cities, older towns. Also, too, I think everybody, when they come here, there's a mindset that I'm leaving somewhere and I'm coming here to get something. I'm trying to establish. The city of second
chances. Look it up on Wikipedia. Yeah. That's Vegas's also other slogan or nickname, which is the city of second chances. That's why I came here.
Yeah, it's a city.
I came here to start to make my dreams come true.
Yeah,
that was my goal, dude. Why'd you move here? Make my dreams come true.
It's a city of hustle.
I didn't know how.
It's a city of hustle, and the thing is about it is that when you look at how many people move here and they're trying to, like you said, get that second chance or second start, they're here to make money, and they're here, and they don't know anybody. Exactly. They're here to make money. Yep. They don't know anybody. They're trying to get their lives established here, and then it's weird because it takes time to develop to know people, but this place is so fast.
Dude,
People
it's the
move
biggest
around.
small town you'll ever live in.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, everybody told me that. They said, dude, this is the biggest small town you ever live in. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm from a town of like 2,000 people. They have like one stoplight my whole county, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not kidding. And dude, after being here 12 years, it's true. It's like you run in the same circles. Everybody knows everybody. It all retraces to a family or someone who's been here forever. And you want to know those people. Trust me.
Yeah. Well,
Because they have the real movement in this town.
Even in the legal industry, I mean, there's a thing, you be courteous with other attorneys because they may have the upper hand today, but tomorrow may not be.
Same
They're
thing in
gonna
real
remember
estate, man.
did with them. Now, a place like LA, when I deal with attorneys over there, they're just cutthroat because I'm not going to see you again.
Yeah.
There's so many people here, I'm not going to see you again. So we are making that transition because eventually we're not going to be a small town. Eventually we're going to be that type of but again, you have the ability now to influence and really establish our identity. All of us, everybody that's moving here has that opportunity. So take it.
Yeah.
My advice.
We'll go ahead and end the show. I think that unemployment's not going to be something for a very long period of time where people are not going to. Obviously, there's going to be. I think Biden came out and stated that people need to start going back to work. And I think once you start getting that influence a little bit, that you can't just sit there and live off of unemployment.
People need to go back to work.
Yeah.
Here's another stimulus.
Well, it's for the kids, but I think they're using
for the kids.
It is
Doing it for the kids.
Doing it for
Always,
the kids.
as long as you do it for the kids.
If it's for the kids,
It's a young man's game.
take the stimulus,
Yeah, take the stimmy.
Well, I'm not going to say no.
right?
Yeah.
So I think going back to it, though, I think unemployment's not going to be a problem long term, and I do think that they're doing this as a reason for the economy to keep going. Zach, you got any final thoughts, man, on unemployment people and why jobs are still around?
Unemployment people.
Yeah,
Those people.
Here's the thing.
ones that are staying home.
The ones that are staying at the cactus because they're on unemployment.
You can't say hack cactus life and be unemployed, bro.
Well, I mean, unemployment, like they're giving like that extra $300 a week boost. I mean, that's not going to be there forever. Sooner or later, people are going to have to go back to work, or they're going to end up on the streets.
Right.
So, I mean, I think for the time being,
End up on the dole.
I mean, obviously the stimulus and unemployment. Yeah, there's going to be people that don't want to go back to work, but that's not going to last forever.
What do you mean? Who do you know wants to go to work? Everybody I know doesn't want to go back to work.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We just do what we have to, though.
Well, what happens when you don't have a
really?
choice?
They want to go to work?
You don't got money,
I'm just kidding.
Well, let's end this show, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. If you guys have any questions. Also, if you want to get a hold of Brett or you want to get a hold of Mr. Zach Martinez, Brett Jenny, you can go to lvhomeexperts.com. You can find them there. Real quick, Mr. Joe Red Dragon over here. What's going on, man? How did somebody get a hold of you?
You can look me up on my website, dragonlawgroup.com.
That's
Simple.
such a cool last name.
I love it, man.
I'm never going to
The
forget
baddest mofo attorneys in Vegas. Look it up.
Yep. We got a new one. We got Baby Dragon's already breathing
Baby
fire.
Dragon.
Baby Dragon,
Baby
already
Dragon.
breathing fire.
Yep. So,
I love it, dude. I love it.
just multiplying. Yeah, dragonlawgroup.com. All my information's there, so just go ahead and contact me. And like we said, if you guys are interested in buying a house, running into problems, give me a call because I'm the guy that can create those creativity, investment ideas or collaborations. Not that difficult, but you're gonna need somebody to guide you. So.
More importantly, you know how to get it done legally.
Yeah.
Being done is one thing, legally is another.
I'm Dan French. You can find me at vegasloanguru.com. You guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any comments, comment in the comment section, and we'll see you Tuesday at the next stream.
Buy
Talk to you
Bitcoin.
then. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench Podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.